Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Weekly Waypoint. Today we are back in Guild Wars 2. We are doing some Sparkfly Fen map progression, which, if you are not aware, is a vanilla zone in Guild Wars 2. It's like a level 35-ish zone, so I guess kind of like early to mid-game, not that it really matters. And we are playing on Dremis, who was my original main character for this game, and I thought it would be cool to kind of revisit him and continue to do some map completion with him, considering that he's technically the one with the most map completion, at least with the vanilla Tyrian zones, and also just to kind of talk about him and his history a little bit, and why I stopped playing him, and how I'm trying to fix him, etc, etc. And if you're new here, the Weekly Waypoint also covers other topics as well. It's not going to be all Guild Wars 2 chapters in the description below. But Dremis was my very first Guild Wars 2 character, and I thought, Mesmer seems like quite a unique and interesting class that I've never played in an MMO. I like its kind of general theming of creating like illusory clones and stuff and blowing them up to either bamboozle or damage your enemies, that kind of thing. That sounds like a lot of fun. And while I found like the base Mesmer class kind of okay, you know, it was my very first time playing Guild Wars 2, so I was trying to get to grips with the fact that changing weapons changed your entire action bar, for instance. While I was cool with that, I made the mistake of going Chronomancer when I started unlocking the elite specifications, which is one of the more apparently difficult classes to play. More importantly to me, it just wasn't a very fun class to play. I say class, it's an elite specialization, but you know what I mean. For those of you who are unaware, the Chronomancer elite specialization unlocks the shield for the Mesmer, and lots of shield related skills alongside it, and there's also lots of spells to do with, you know, obviously time, being a Chronomancer. To be fair, I didn't unlock many of the skills on the elite specialization tree, so it's possible that I just didn't unlock the kind of main core aspect of the elite specialization, and therefore it didn't feel very good to play. We are playing Virtuoso, which we'll get to in a minute, but I remember when I started unlocking this, I just got one pip in, and it didn't change your clones into the swords that I have, and that's a pretty cool feature for the elite spec. So yeah, there's every chance that I just didn't unlock some of the most important parts of Chronomancer, and that's why I didn't like it. But ultimately, I didn't enjoy the abilities, I didn't enjoy the, I guess, kind of visual theme of it, and it felt difficult to play. So instead of doing the rational thing and going, oh, I'll start unlocking one of the other elite specializations instead, I went, I'm changing mains! I looked up the easiest class to play because I was crashing out of difficult fights, and by crashing out I mean, of course, just getting real mad, and so I started playing a Necromancer, which is Rin Idleheart, who you may have seen as the main star these days of Adventures Interior. But as I was playing through the game on Rin, I kind of kept looking at Dremis in the character selection screen and just feeling regret, feeling like things were a little unfinished, and so eventually I went back to him. One of the aspects I didn't like about him as well was the original kind of appearance I had for him, and it turns out that when I bought one of the, either one of the expansions or one of its deluxe upgrades on sale like a year ago, it came with like a makeover change kit or whatever it's called, so you can change your appearance, and that came with some like unique hairstyles and stuff like that. So I gave Dremis you know, a change up, a switch up, a visual makeover, and I think now he looks cool as heck. And the problem with making Dremis look cool as heck is that I kept looking at him on the character select screen and going, man, I've got this cool as heck looking character now that I'm not doing anything with. So yes, eventually, when I had a little bit more experience with the game, when I understood things a little bit better, I realized, oh, I'm being dumb, I can just go and unlock Virtuoso, and so I've been working on that. It's important to note, I'm only about halfway through the Virtuoso unlocks. I bought most of the kind of upgrade points with the World vs. World Jade Heroics or whatever they're called, and I am still learning the spec. There are times when I forget I have my swords and I leave them up for far too long without using them. As always, there are times when I could be going to my back bar instead of waiting on cooldowns, but I'm just stubborn or forgetful and I just wait on cooldowns. I am not the world's best Guild Wars 2 player, this should come as a surprise to nobody who's watched my footage before. And ultimately, compared to Reaper, which I'm playing as on Necromancer now, yeah, I'm still almost dying sometimes in these vanilla zones. I'm still, you know, fighting for my life, it feels like, in comparison to playing as a Necromancer. But I never actually, I think, do go down. Or maybe I do, I don't remember. Oh wait, no, this is the first bit of footage I took. Yeah, I do go down a fair few times, as you're about to see, but it's not because of difficult enemies. Anyone who knows this zone might know what's coming. For context, by the way, I realised I recorded all of this without having the music enabled, which is what you might be noticing is missing. And so I recorded half an hour more footage. I thought I'll give myself a nice big stopgap in case I want to talk about comics at the end of this video, and then I don't have to feel rushed and not say much about them, which is what happened last week. And I didn't realise I had like no storage left, so the footage corrupted. So, you know, we're just gonna make do. Anyway, I'm pleased to report the more I play Virtuoso, the more I like it, especially the theme of having these kind of summoned swords and the different things you can do with them and so on and so forth. I've also been told that Distortion, my kind of fourth ability above the main bar there, is kind of super overpowered in terms of survivability. It's, if you've ever played Overwatch, it's a little bit like Kiriko's Cleanse in that you're just immortal for like a second or so. So if you get good at timing that, you can apparently pull off some pretty crazy maneuvers in like endgame stuff. But I am but a wee babby. I'm just happy to do my map completions and call it a day at the minute. I will say I am still happy with Rin Idleheart as my main. I'm not swapping back to Dremis or anything, but I am very happy to have Dremis back in my life doing his mesmer things. At this point, it's been so long since I played Dremis in any real capacity that whenever he says one of his voice lines like, "Sweet, sweet loot," you know, stuff like that, I almost feel nostalgic. I'm still not entirely sure in what capacity my alt garage is going to be used later on in the game. I'm still mostly focused on just playing through the story on Rin Idleheart. But I don't really know why I would choose to do stuff in the open world on my Mesmer or on my Guardian as opposed to on my Necromancer on my main. I guess it's just for the love of swapping up playstyles and advancing different characters and equipping them and so on and so forth. It's alting for the sake of alting. To be fair, I'm kind of running into the same problem in World of Warcraft. I wanted that game to be alt-friendly for so long, and now that it is, it's almost too alt-friendly and I have no reason to do anything on alts. Like, we solved the problem that I wanted to solve, but in doing that, we also solved the thing that it was there to solve in a weird way. Does that make any sense? Am I losing my mind? What I'm referring to in World of Warcraft is, for instance, I can run Molten Core and unlock all of the transmogs for all of the classes with all of the items that drop on my Druid, which is great. But it also means that I no longer have to run it on my Mage and my Hunter and my... I was going to say Demon Hunter, but you wouldn't need to run Molten Core on a Demon Hunter. But anyway, and because I no longer need to run them on the classes that I'm alting, one of the main reasons to actually play the alts, to get the fashion for the alts, is no longer applicable, and therefore I'm not playing the alts as much. You know what I mean? It's kind of the same thing in Guild Wars 2. I can progress pretty much my entire account on one main character, which is great for when I want to play alts because I'm still progressing that same account, but at the same time, I don't really need to play alts. You know what I mean? If you're more of an experienced Guild Wars 2 player and you've got a suggestion of what I might want to use alternate characters for, let me know in the comments. But yes, as you may be able to see in the quest pane to the right of the screen there, the Festival of the Four Winds event is now on, which is also why you may see me running around picking up stuff from baskets. And I've been working on the meta achievement for that. This is my first time experiencing the Festival of the Four Winds, and I've got to say, so far my favourite part has been going to the first zone, because it's got a specific zone area you can go to, and just hunting for sky crystals. I think I got like 47 out of 52 sky crystals just by myself without looking up any guides. And it was so cozy just running around looking for them all and collecting them and stuff and doing events as they popped up in the meantime. It reminded me, to harken back to World of Warcraft once again, it reminded me of Timeless Isle in Mists of Pandaria, just running around the Timeless Isle and looking for the chests, which awarded all of the gear and stuff like that. It reminded me of that quite strongly. There's also the Crown Pavilion area, which is a little bit more actual whack bosses mode, and I've done all of the like clifftop achievements, but I haven't done all of the Crown Pavilion achievements yet because a lot of it is just farming various mobs until you kill enough of them, and that got pretty grindy pretty quickly. I don't really remember what the reward for finishing the meta achievement is. I just kind of want to do it because it's there, which is probably the mindset I should apply to playing alternate characters. Anyway, that's enough Guild Wars 2 rambling for one day. Keeping it in MMO town, in World of Warcraft this week, 11.2 The Ghosts of Koresh launched, and I'm a little grouchy about it. I haven't really seen this opinion anywhere else. People seem to be really enjoying it. I have a lot of gripes with the way that they're doing the storytelling, and maybe that's just a result of me being so invested in a different MMO at the time that I'm going and playing this. The differences between the two stand out in stark contrast. I had the same problem when I went and played ESO Deadlands after finishing Final Fantasy XIV. Bad news for ESO Deadlands story right there, let me tell you. And I won't go into detail on my gripes here because it would require delving into story specifics, and it would assume lots of knowledge from you, the viewer, about hyper-specific World of Warcraft things. But to kind of put it broadly speaking, they put out a audio novella prequel before this patch went out, which was amazing and so full of lore, and now they are seemingly contradicting that very lore that they just set up with the storytelling of 11.2. And the other thing is they also gave away a fairly major revelation, in my opinion, through quest text. And every time I've complained about that, everyone said to me, no, we already knew this at the end of Dragonflight. And every time someone then jumps in and goes, no, we did not already know this at the end of Dragonflight, it was never revealed. And that is the true nature of what Xalatath is, I guess. And I don't know, it's weirding me out, and it's too distracting for me to really get too enveloped in the story and enjoy it for what it is, which is a shame because I feel like if I played this during a different time period, if this had released while I was only playing World of Warcraft and I was super into World of Warcraft's current narrative, I would probably be all over this, like cheese dust on Doritos. But I was so distracted the entire time playing through that story going, but that doesn't make sense because you said this earlier. And apparently it's because the character who told us the story in the audio novella was just lying, which can work as a narrative device, but it doesn't here. Just feels like they're retconning something they established 5 minutes ago. But anyway, that's my rant on that over. No one else seems to feel the same way I do, so it's clearly just a me thing. I haven't even done any of like the open world gameplay of Ghosts of Koresh yet, like phase diving or anything like that. I was so grumpy that when the story was done I went, thank God. I quit out of the game. It's not even a bad story, man. I'm sorry. I think I'm just grouchy at the minute. I didn't talk about this in the Guild Wars 2 section, but I did play through Living World Season 4 Episode 1, and I had a really bad time. I did not enjoy it. I have since started Episode 2, and I am loving it. But Episode 1, oh, God. Both the writing and the game design of Episode 1, I think, was a little obtuse, which, again, I looked it up, does not seem to be a popular opinion, so clearly it's just me. I will give one quick example of I clicked the wrong box when finding grog ingredients, which is as irrelevant and side questy as it sounds, and I got alcohol poisoning for 6 minutes, which caused my character to suffer periodic bleeding damage. That was unfortunate wording. And so she was moving very slowly and could not mount up because she counted as being in combat. That's just a game design choice that they made, and I was not happy with it. There's just lots of little things like that. Anyway, my grouchiness kind of informed what else I did this week in the video game space, because I realised maybe I've just been sticking to 2 games for too long and I've become a little bit burnt out on the gameplay of MMOs in general. Maybe that's what's happening, so I decided to mix things up a little bit. I booted up Last Epoch, which I never finished the main story of. I did a little bit of that. I'm kind of in the isometric ARPG mood a little bit, and I was reminded that Last Epoch is, in theory, everything I want out of a Diablo-style game. but for some reason that I cannot put my finger on, it just does not keep me. Also, the people who make that game apparently got bought out by a very scummy company, so there you go, there's that. I think this came from me wanting to pick up Titan Quest 2, but knowing that I should probably wait until there's more Titan Quest 2 to play, because currently it's only Act 1. Looks good though, is getting good reviews. I also downloaded Darksiders, which is a game I've only ever played 3 hours of, but I own both it and 2. And again, I was just feeling something action RPG-ish. And again, I have not got far through it, and I don't know if I am going to get far through it. It was just a spur of the moment thing. But I had a slight dalliance with Darksiders, because I just kind of had one of those moments of, oh yeah, I own a bunch of really cool games that I've never really given enough time, and could probably satiate my tastes right now instead of picking up something new. And then I went and I picked up something new. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered was £5, and I went, hey, you know, harkening back to a few weeks ago, I would like to make sure I've got racing games before they get delisted someday, and it looks like Project Cars 3 is never going to go on sale, despite being delisted soon, so I'll get this instead. And I'll be honest, I've never been super crazy about Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered, because I did play it a bit on Game Pass back when I was giving Microsoft money. And compared to other entries, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit very much felt like it's all just kind of long roads with weird kind of offbeat shortcuts, which are kind of, some of them aren't even really shortcuts, and it's just how fast your car is and all that. But actually, the more I played it, the more I came to appreciate it for what it actually is. And if there is a game out of the last few that I've just mentioned that I think I'm going to be spending more time with this week, it's probably Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered. It's very reminiscent in some ways, sorry, I just saw myself die, to Burnout 3, just the way that that's done with like, oh, you choose events from the map, and you've got the different kind of like types of cars that you earn, like the sports cars and then the performance cars and so on and so forth, except they're using real cars now because it's Need for Speed. And of course it doesn't play like Burnout, but obviously it's made by those same developers, and you can very much see that. And I love Need for Speed Rivals, which is the game they made after this, and you can very much see kind of the blueprint for Need for Speed Rivals in this game. Also, side note, apparently Need for Speed Rivals servers are shutting down in October, I think I saw, and I don't know if that game has an offline mode. Oh, actually, I just looked it up. You know what? It is fully playable in offline mode. Okay, fair enough. That is a very old game, so I'm not surprised the servers are shutting down for it. In fact, you know what? I might pick that up too for PC, because I only have that on consoles that I don't play anymore. 624. Why does this game cost more than Need for Speed Heat? It also doesn't have Steam achievements, which is kind of a bummer. But I did already get the Platinum Trophy on PS4, so I don't really need to do that again. Sorry, hi, we've entered the thinking out loud portion of the weekly waypoint, apparently. Oh, okay, one last thing. So you know how last week I mentioned how I was in the Pokemon mood? That has continued. I am nearing the end of Pokemon Violet, although I may have been nearing the end of Pokemon Violet last week. We are doing that at a snail's pace because I really can't be asked to do the Final Team Starbase. That's my least favourite part of the game. But it has led me down the rabbit hole of starting a randomised Emerald playthrough and checking out, you know, games I've got on 3DS and that kind of thing. Checking in with Pokemon Home, logging back into Pokemon Go. And the main thing it's really got out of me is that I really want an emulation machine to play my own ripped ROMs from my legal copies of each game, obviously. But if you're not aware of what an emulation machine is, basically, usually Chinese companies make these little handheld devices that you can stick an SD card into, and you can run RetroArch off of them and play a bunch of old games. All on one little system. And it's one of those things that I've never grabbed because I've never needed it. I've just realised this is when I was AFK for a minute, but I want to ramble, so we're going to let the footage run. I'm so professional. But yeah, these things have been becoming more and more affordable. And I'm so tempted. I don't need one. I've got the games. I've got the handhelds. I don't need an emulation machine. But damn it, I just kind of want one. And in all honesty, from my experience, the things that I really don't need but just kind of have a persistent desire for usually end up being some of my favourite purchases, like my iPad years ago. My iPad is one of the best purchasing decisions I ever made. I love that thing. I love reading comics on it and just watching YouTube on it, and just it's like my comfort thing. I understand why there's a whole generation of kids called iPad kids. I'm an iPad kid. I'm an iPad adult, except not really, because I don't use it for like games and stuff. And no, I don't want to turn my iPad into an emulation machine. Touchscreen controls can do one. I take it back, I'm not an iPad kid. But I want an emulation machine, and I might actually grab one soon, because I'm not sure for how much longer they can get away with selling them the way that they do. I feel like at some point Nintendo's going to turn around and go, hey, wait a minute, and I don't want that. But yeah, my week has kind of been full of me starting a whole bunch of Pokemon saves and not sticking to any of them. I'm currently considering returning to my Alpha Sapphire save I started probably half a year ago, or playing through Pokemon X again, and it's like, I just spun up a new Pokemon Heart Gold save. I've got... You know that problem I have where I play like 10 games in a week and don't really give any of them the right time of day? I've got that, but specifically for Pokemon games right now. I should probably just stay away and get Pokemon Legends ZA when it comes out in like a couple of months. Which a game I'm ironically still not that excited for anymore. But I will grab it. I will grab it. It looks like it runs fine on the Switch, so I'm fine grabbing that before I have a Switch too, I think. Anyway, that really is going to do it. So thank you very much for tuning in. Let me know if you had any thoughts below. I will get back to you, and I'll catch you in whatever I make next.